Morning, Mr. Manthe.
Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioner Bookland.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Commissioner Meyer, we have four commissioners who are excused today. So we're at a quorum of, we'll need a quorum of 5 if President Hubble is able to log in. If not, you'll have to chair the meeting and close the agenda because we will not have a quorum.
Okay, thanks, Michael. We have no word from Tom that he's not coming, right?
No, he's expected.
Okay.
So
Well,
I just want to have a plan here.
Yeah, thank you. No, let's keep an eye out for a couple minutes and see what we need to do. I see President Hubble connecting now. That's good.
Good morning.
Morning, Tom.
Good morning.
I entered the wrong number for the meeting. I missed a digit, so sorry about that. Okay, I think it's 8 o'clock, right? Do we have a quorum?
We have 5 commissioners present, so we do have a quorum.
Okay, good. So we have a quorum. I'll call the meeting to order. Let's see. Welcome to guests. And Janelle, would you like to go through the virtual meeting guidance, please?
Certainly. Good morning, commissioners, members of the public and staff. To help us have a smooth meeting, I'm going to review just a few rules for all to please follow. Number 1, please ensure your mic is muted unless you are speaking. Number 2, please state your name before speaking. Number 3, for those who are speaking, please have your cameras on if possible. You may turn your cameras off if you experience technological challenges. And number 4, as a reminder, the public chat has been disabled, but you can still send messages to the host if need be. And this meeting is being recorded and streamed live on YouTube. So with that, let's have a great meeting, everyone, and welcome. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Janelle. Michael, do you have any announcements?
I do not have any announcements today.
Okay, do we have any appearances by anyone in the public? Anyone in the public wish to say anything? Okay, I don't see any hands up. Not a lot of people attending today. So we'll move on to the consent calendar. We have the approval of the minutes from the last meeting in July, the cash statement capital fund, a review and approval of sanitary sewer extension plans for project in Fitchburg, Stanley Park, and Balboa Street, and then American Center East Park 5th edition. And then we have 2 other things: acceptance of work for engine generator control panel and review of proposals to award a contract Badger Mill Creek stakeholder engagement facilitation. Do we have any questions on any of these items before we get a motion? Any questions? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
This is, oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead, Beth.
This is Commissioner Bookland. I move to approve the consent calendar.
It's Murphy, I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Bookland, seconded by Commissioner Murphy to approve the consent calendar. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Okay, that will take us to topics. Item A, review and approval of the 2024 focus items. Michael, you gonna lead this off?
I will. Okay. I'm presenting for your review and approval today our 2024 focus items. This is a chance before we go into budget season to confirm we are focusing on the right things and for the commission to suggest changes or consider future items. You may recall, commissioners, this is a process we put in a couple of years ago as a way to help prepare for the budget and any new resource needs that would be required to advance priorities. Part of being a high performance organization is to strive towards excellence. And even when the world throws challenges at us and we have circumstances we have to deal with, new regulations, climate change, aging infrastructure are requiring us to adapt and to be even better. And this is what forward-facing organizations such as a district do. And this is where our strategic plan comes into place. Our purpose is why we exist and what unique value we provide to the world. And the commission during strategic planning last year reinforced our purpose to be efficient and to achieve the maximum benefit in a cost-effective manner. And also the commission reinforced the idea of being strategic, which means being future-oriented and proactive. And we do this, of course, on behalf of our 25 owner communities who authorize us and fund us to do the work we do. The owners expect 5 things from us as we defined in strategic planning last year about protecting public health and the environment, building trust, complying with regulations, and being effective. Performance areas are the how, or they are the areas the district must achieve with excellence to fulfill our purpose over time and to meet these owner expectations. And in order to comply with our permits, maintain public trust and financial sustainability, we have to be really good at these things. Performance areas have and really serve a managerial function, and they focus the organization and executives and staff on seeing that these get performed very well. After the commission developed and approved the strategic plan, I made some adjustments to my executive team in a manner that would help support leading these performance areas for the district. Focus items go one level deeper in terms of clarity, and the list is in your commission packet. There are 9 focus items for 2024, but you'll see on this slide there are 13 bubbles. And that is because focus items sometimes help support and achieve performance in more than one performance area. And they are, and so that is why you see the various bubbles in our work. They are very distinct, the focus items, from day-to-day work, such as operating the plant and all the services and programs we have to support operating the treatment plant and our collection system. There are 2 types of challenges that we have, and it's really important to distinguish between the 2. And as a commission, understand what is a technical solution and what is an adaptive solution. Because if you solve an adaptive problem using a technical approach, you'll fail, and vice versa. Technical problems require well-exercised authority and expertise, such as operating a treatment plant and collection system, including all the related support services, are critical to our existence. The problems have been seen before, and they are quickly solved by knowledgeable and experienced district employees. Everyone knows what to do, and this is what we call the daily operations, and it makes up between 80 and 90% of the work we do every day. Adaptive challenges, on the other hand, are more circular. They are challenges we have not encountered before or have rarely encountered, and these challenges are not solved quickly. We may not initially know, for example, whose work it is, or if we have capacity to actually do the work. Focus items are adaptive work because most of the items on your list, there is no consensus around the cause or cure. There is not a clear roadmap, and we have to experiment and learn. It requires a multidisciplinary team to look at solutions, and because adaptive challenges are about values and how things get done, they tend to be controversial and risky. And every employee at the district does a combination of technical and adaptive work. The higher you go in the organization and management, the proportion shifts from less technical to more adaptive. And that's just how the organization works. A really good example of an adaptive work is Yahara Winds. When Governor Doyle approved the new phosphorus package in late 2010, watershed adaptive management was outlined as a potential way of phosphorus compliance. And this is a photocopy from my notebook where Dave Taylor and I sat together early after the approval of that rule package to try to do a relational diagram of what success would look like. We didn't have any idea. We had to identify who cares, who's impacted, who is critical to success, and who has influence. And as you know, 7 years later, the commission approved Yahara Winds and included all of these stakeholders, including the county, the city, the towns, the EPA, the DNR, and of course, our own commission and farm producers to achieve great results. This is a really good example of adaptive work. and reflects the type of approach that we take when we're moving forward with our focus items and where we initially may not know what's happening. Our 2024 focus items fall into the commission level items. There are two types. There are commission level items and CED executive team focus items. Those at the commission level need active commission direction or support, or are areas the commission believes need more focus and attention. And you can see we have greenhouse gas reduction, ongoing commission process improvement. This will be something we may have on in a focus item every year. The commission will identify where they want to focus their own improvements: equity, Badger Mill, phosphorus compliance. And my screen, I can't even see the last one out here, but and market wage study. The CED executive focus items require us to align significant internal resources and needs management oversight. The ERP implementation is going to be a major project for us. Employee engagement is ongoing. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is ongoing. And of course, service charges and rate structure. We have some next steps there. You'll notice that there have been changes from the focus items in 2023. And as the executive team, as we try to look at what we want to do for 2024, we really spent a lot of time looking at workload balancing and also determine which things are no longer adaptive and are more in the program area where the commission has given us pretty clear direction. We have adequate resources or they're in our capital plan, and it's more routine. And these items, which are extremely important, such as inflow and infiltration, PFAS sampling, executive team leadership, and reliability-centered maintenance improvements, are active and thriving programs. And so they've moved off the focus item list and into what I'd consider to be core work. So that is my presentation. I want to pause there and open it up for commission discussion and direction. And I'll maybe move here to some of the elements here.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Does anybody have any comments or questions? Anybody have any comments or questions? I got a kind of a question, Michael. There's a little bit of overlap, but not a lot, between the commission focus and the CED, like the equity. And then you also had that. How do you, does the commission do their focus item first and then you move from that? Or, I'm just trying to think of how the flow chart works so that there's not an inconsistency in what's going on.
That there are two tracks going on, and we'll review that at the study session. We have planned for a future commission meeting. I believe it's the next one, because there are things we should be doing externally around equity, which is this bubble here, this equity piece. And then there's an entire strategy internally around diversity, equity, and inclusion. And what I'm going to share with you at the study session is the work we're doing in the DEI area internally, and get a sense from the commission what areas you'd like to monitor in our internal work. But there are also a couple things we should be thinking about externally in terms of what policies do we want around equity as a commission, and what should we be doing outside our fence line. And that would be new work for us. And I'm going to lay out a few ideas for your consideration, and then we'll go from there. So 2 tracks.
Okay. Anyone else?
Commissioner Havel, I do just have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Beth.
Michael, could you go back to the slide where you have switched over from focus items to the in progress, I think, items is. Yeah, yep, that's the one. So, so the program work ones, those are ones that are in progress and the commission will continue to get updates on the progress of those. Is that right?
Yes, like for the inflow and infiltration program, we usually touch base every year with our work plan for the next year. So we'll be following up later this fall on our progress on the I&I work this year, and then share with you and confirm our work plan for next year. And with PFAS sampling, as we move through the various phases of our sampling and we have new results and we fill in the gaps through our sampling, we will place that on the agenda for commission for you to see those results. And if there's work that we need to do, then we'll recommend plan. And RCM improvement, liability center maintenance improvements, where you'll likely see that is in terms of our metrics and our performance areas. And we'll be reporting through performance how we're doing on some areas with reliability center maintenance. And executive team will likely not see much there. Where you will hear more from me is during my annual performance review. I will share with you what we're working on and my thoughts and how it impacts the performance of the district and my performance. So that's where you'd see executive team leadership.
Okay, good. Thank you. That's really helpful. I just want to make sure the commission, stayed abreast of those topics. So good. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else?
I'll just chime in. Just to chime in quick, Tom.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm glad Beth drew some attention to these pieces that are moving off of the focus area, but into, core day-to-day work. And I think those make sense. Obviously agree with what Beth's saying about our keeping abreast of what's happening with those things, because they're all really important. And otherwise, I think that actually allows us to focus, a pretty tight focus on this 8 or 9 items that are on the list for this coming year. I think they all sound really good and seem like, based on all the conversations we've had over the last, year or two, these are the places we want to have our attention focused now. So I think it's a good list and helps us a little bit going into the budget season to make sure we're funding and staffing and otherwise resourcing all these things. But I think we're in a good place here at this stage in the game. Thanks, Michael.
Okay. Greg or Brad, did you have any comments before we get a motion?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
Likewise.
Okay. So Sarah, I thought was going to be virtual, but I haven't seen her yet. So you may have had some issues.
She's
okay.
excused, Tom.
Oh, she is. Okay. Okay. So, I don't hear anybody having any further comments. Do we have a motion? I think there was
I'm happy to move approval of this resolution on the 2024 district focus items.
A motion by Commissioner Meyer, second by.
I would second that. Oh, I'm sorry, Beth.
Go ahead, Greg.
This is Commissioner Freeze. I would second that.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Meyer, second by Commissioner Freeze to approve the resolution on the 2024 focus items. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? None, motion carries. Okay. That
Thank
will
you.
take us, yeah, thank you. That will take us to item 4B, review and approval of the 2022 district annual report. Michael?
Thank you. First, I want to congratulate the commission for the action you just took. And I also want to congratulate the executive team. We have worked together over the last 2 years to take what was an old strategic plan with 25 plus items on the list, which were very difficult to prioritize. And Commissioner Meyer just referenced how we were focusing. And even from last year's focus item report to this year, we're continuing to focus and be realistic about what we can accomplish in light of our day-to-day work, our daily operations work. So this is a big milestone for us, and we still have more work to do, and we'll always have work to do. Now shifting the district annual report. Wisconsin statutes requires that every year that we shall prepare annually a full and detailed report of all the district's transactions and expenses and all planned additions and major changes in district facilities. And then we file a copy with the Department of Natural Resources, the Department of Health Services, and share with the governing bodies of all villages, towns having a territory in our district. We have been doing annual reports since our inception. I think I have a copy of the original one here. Since 1930, we have our first annual report, and every year we have done an annual report, but it wasn't required by the state until 1971, and we have been doing these reports. I just wanted to share a few highlights in the 80+ page document you have before you, if you haven't had a chance to read it yet. But I highlighted in my note up front that our new strategic plan in completing it was a major highlight for 2022. Our work with service charges and engaging with our owner communities around their needs around service charges and the work we're doing there. And then the commission's priority to begin really focusing in on climate mitigation and climate change, starting our research in that area. There's other things of note in the plan that you may have caught, but in 2022, there were 8.5 new employees added. There were 4 retirements and 22 promotions. We had 1 less owner community. We went from 26 to 25 with the town of Madison being incorporated into the city. And we also added 94.5 acres to our service area. In terms of safe workplace, for workers' compensation, our modification rate rose from 0.69 to 0.72, so a little bit less performance. However, a rate of 1 means that we are trending average, and anything below 1 is better than our peers. So we're still doing well from a safety standpoint. We implemented our workforce development program in 2022, which the commission supported and funded, and we formed the reliability process work group also. Those are some of the highlights of the annual report, and I'll open it up for commission questions or discussions. There is no urgency to approve this report today, so if there are things you see in the report you'd like changed, I'm more than happy to do it. It's your report. Otherwise, I'll just open it up for commission discussion and action.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Anybody have any discussion or questions or comments on the presentation or the annual report that's in the packet? Okay, I don't.
Tom, I might just chime in with
yeah, go ahead, Ezra.
It's as always, the resource team, I assume, is involved here and produces an unbelievably high quality document. And I think sort of my only concern is that I wish more people would see this than probably do. Because I think it's a great summary of kind of how we work and what we do, and more customers out there, not in the sense even of communities, but in the sense of end users, households, and businesses sort of could see this and understand, what we do. It'd be neat. But it's great. I think it's a great document for all the audiences we know do take a look at it, and for potential, broader audience that could look at it. But so well done, staff, and I think looks good.
Yeah, thank you, Ezra, for those comments. I think they did a good job. And what I look at is that's really kind of a historical document that, going back, I remember when I first started on the commission, I would look at some of the old ones to see what was happening or what had happened in prior years. So, yeah, it's a good historical document that can trace the progress of the district. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, I don't see anybody. I gotta flip through, see if there's any hands up. No. Okay, do we have a motion to approve the annual report?
This is Commissioner Freeze. I would move approval of the district's 2022 district's annual report.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Freeze to approve the annual report. Do we have a second?
This is Commissioner Bookland. I'll second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Freeze, second by Commissioner Bookland to approve the annual report. Any further comments or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 And any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you, staff, for the preparation. It's changed over the years. When it was the one that Michael had, I think that format continued for many years, and it was much duller to read, I think, than the current the current format. Good nighttime reading.
Thank you.
Okay, that will take us to the CED report. Michael, do you have a CED update?
I have two updates for the commission today. I'm pleased to say this week at an all-staff meeting, we rolled out our new employee complaint process, which is a third-party process that the commission approved as part of our new employee handbook. So that was formally rolled out this week. So I'm really pleased to see that milestone, and that was accomplished. The other thing is around toxicity testing. As a part of our permit, we have to do toxicity testing on the effluent in our receiving streams, both Badfish Creek and Badger Mill Creek, on a rotating quarterly basis. Whole effluent toxicity, it's called a wet test, refers to aggregate toxic effect to aquatic organisms from all pollutants contained in our wastewater. It is one way we implement the Clean Water Act's prohibition of the discharge of toxic pollutants in toxic amounts. Staff sets up samplers near our outfalls. We collect composite samples over a period of 5 days and send those samples to a third-party lab to perform the wet test. There are two types of tests that are done. There's an acute toxicity test, and the objective is to find concentration of effluent that causes death after a short exposure. And there's also chronic toxicity, with which the objective is to find concentrations of effluent that causes sublethal effects over a longer term exposure period. So what happened with our most recent test for our third quarter wet testing, which occurred in July, the end of July, we failed the toxicity test at Badger Mill Creek, and it requires us to complete retests after 90 days of a failed test, and this is being scheduled and worked on. The permit requires us to retest until we show no toxicity. So if the first retest fails, we will do another one and another retest. The last time we had a failed wet test, what the commission may recall, was in June 2021, and it was in Badfish Creek. This one's in Badger Mill Creek. And when we retested, things were in compliance. Our permit provides for circumstances such as these with a process for retesting. And I wanted to let you know that we're in that process, and I will report to you our progress after the retesting. So that's my report, President Hubble. If there are any questions from the commission, I'll send it back to you.
Okay, Commissioner Freeze has a question, and then Commissioner Bookland.
Hi, thanks. So Michael, I'm just curious, I might have missed it. Did we fail the acute or the chronic toxicity test?
I'm sorry, I did not say that. It's the chronic.
Okay.
Okay, Beth?
Thank you. You answered half of my question. I wondered whether it was acute or chronic. And then I know in the chronic test, they test for a number of different endpoints. So did we fail some of those endpoints? All of those endpoints? I mean, I just curious as to, what the actual results were.
A good question. Marty, can you jump in on this one?
Michael, Marty is not here today. He is taking his daughter to college.
That's right. Commissioner Bookland, would it be okay if I follow up at the next commission meeting with more details on that for you?
Yep, sure. That would be fine. Thank you.
Okay.
So I got a question, Michael. Are we testing at the outfall? Right?
It's not, we don't grab the sample right from the outfall. It's several meters downstream. It's in the stream itself.
Okay,
So it's not pure treated effluent.
right. So that's one of my questions is how do they know it's MMSD? Because, could we do a toxicity test where they're required and then one right at the outfall and then compare them to see, because it's not necessarily MMSD that could be the contributing factor. Chances may be that it is.
We don't know, and it's very difficult to speculate. I guess these tests, the same effluent is in both discharges, and why
Right.
one wouldn't and another. So I think we just want to go through our protocols here with the testing, and if we continue to have negative tests, then that'll force us to do more study to maybe to find out what is the cause.
Yeah, that is, and I suppose some of it could be a concentration thing, and you maybe have more water at Badfish Creek than at Badger Milk Creek at that point. But yeah, I'm not sure about all the parameters that was tested. Okay. Beth, you have your hand up again?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm pretty familiar with these tests. I've actually done them myself before. And I'd really like to see the results because it could be just a close call and just repeating it is the right thing to do, or it could be a bigger issue. I don't know, but I'd really like to see the results.
We can do that. I'll bring that information to the next meeting.
Okay. Greg, you have your hand up?
Yeah, this is probably a question for Beth. I'm only passing familiar with these tests from my work, because we have done this type of work, chronic and acute, on stormwater, right? And these tests basically just they put specific organisms in a tank, right? And then they test die off over a period of time, and beyond a certain threshold, right, you fail. But it really doesn't test the why, right? This is just an on-off switch, right? It's very digital. Either enough lived or enough died to cause you a failure, but you don't know why, right? You just know they died. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. So like the acute is like a 96-hour test, and it's just living versus the ones that died. Now the chronic one is a longer one, and I'm not sure exactly what they did, but I think it might be a 5-day test. And they look at some different endpoints with that test. So, I think, looking at the results and stuff would be really helpful, because it could be that they were really close, or it could be that they were far off, and looking at the different endpoints. So, yeah.
Thank you.
You're on mute, Tom.
I'm gonna unmute you, okay?
Well, while Tom is getting figured out here, our next report is the regulatory and legal report. Rick, would you like to give a brief report on behalf of our legal counsel?
Yeah, thanks, Michael. So obviously I'm not Paul Kent or Vanessa Wishart. Paul is in the middle of Costa Rica without any cell service, and Vanessa had her baby, so she's on maternity leave. So I guess they're really digging into the bench today. Basically, it has been pretty quiet on the regulatory front. The legislature is not in session. We haven't had any sort of like committee updates. So if you look at the report, there's a lot of no changes. So I really do not have anything to report for you today.
Thank you, Rick. Any questions from the commission on the legal report? Not seeing any. The future meeting schedule.
Okay, I
is,
got it
in your-
figured out. Sorry about
All right,
that.
Tom, go
I
ahead.
hit something wrong and then I couldn't figure out where it went. Okay, so now I gotta get back onto the future meeting schedule, right? And so this meeting was virtual because we had several people that were missing. But the next meeting on 8/31 will be in person, where we will be doing some of the stuff we would have done today in person. Okay, and then that we continue then with our September 28th and our October 12th meetings as in person. So if anybody's gonna be missing a meeting, please let them know when you find out, because so they can make adjustments like they did for this week. Particularly with September and October coming up, which are important meetings for budget and things like that. So we will proceed with the in-person meeting next week, and then one in-person meeting in September and one in October on the 28th and then the 12th of October. Okay. Anybody have anything for future agenda topics?
I had one thought on that, Tom. I don't know if I missed something on this last time. It's possible, but I was excited today to see the progress moving forward on the Badger Mill Creek stakeholder engagement around watershed health and projects we can help support on that front as we eventually turn off the flow over there. So I'm wondering if there's room or what the plan is for commission sort of check-in through that process. I think, I don't know if I'm alone, but I'd be interested to know what the process looks like, who we're envisioning asking to join, as stakeholders, and just wonder if there's maybe room for a couple of commission check-in points along that process. So I brought this up in the context of future agenda topics, thinking if it's not something that's already been covered, maybe we put it on an agenda here in the next month or 6 weeks as the consultants ramp up and things get started.
Yeah, we had a team meeting this week, and we are planning check-ins with the commission on the progress of this group that'll be working for a year on it. And we don't want to get to the end of the process and here's what we came up with. We'll be doing milestone check-ins with the commission.
Okay. And how's
Great, thanks.
that committee or group selection going?
Amanda?
Sure, happy to take this. Amanda Wagner, Communications and Public Affairs Director. So like Michael said, we had a kickoff meeting just Tuesday with our consultant and the facilitator. So how the selection process is going, basically there is a group of organizations, mostly municipalities, what we sort of call jurisdictional partners. So those groups, those agencies, organizations that have maybe land in the area, regulatory oversight, you know, just sort of some responsibility for area in the corridor. So that's DNR, Dane County, town and city of Verona, some partners like that. Then there is also some more nonprofit type groups or friends groups that we had engaged with throughout the process. And now that we have this this approved today, working on that, extending that invitation to them. So there's monthly meetings, and then the group or the vendor that we selected also proposed 2 community meetings. So those will be more broad, open meetings where anyone who has an interest can participate. So those jurisdictional partners I mentioned, we've already reached out to and secured those commitments, working on those organizational partners next, and starting to get things scheduled now that we can move forward.
Okay, so thank you, Amanda. Any other business? Okay, see none. Who's gonna do the motion to adjourn?
Happy to move that we adjourn.
Motion by Commissioner Meyer, second by
I'll second it. Murphy.
Commissioner Murphy to adjourn. Excuse me. All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
And opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you, everybody. Have a good rest of the weekend. Enjoy your weekend.
Likewise.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.